Hello, everybody. Tyler Yonke. Tonight, we're going to talk about constitutional crisis, Doge. We're going to break it down, maybe a little bit. I don't even know if I know much about this, but we'll read some things. We'll take your questions and your concerns coming up.
Things are going to start happening to me now.
I think Tyler is amazing.
And I'm a fan of this show. I've watched several episodes.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
Never promise crazy a baby.
Oh, I like that. That's a cool idea.
Are either of you homosexuals?
I go both ways. What do you think?
You mean like flaming or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
But I do wonder, for others, in other cases, whether libertarianism today is just an excuse for many on the right to act selfishly.
Look at me. And then some fat asses in Washington started having opinions. The Olympic Committee started having opinions. You bitch, I know you. You started writing your opinions.
And it just makes me wonder, you're dead, bitch. You know, why are you doing this to this poor guy?
I don't care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
Did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you.
Here we are, everybody in the house. I don't know, people are in my house, my wife. This is Tyler Yonke, LPR, coming at you on a Friday afternoon, 4:17 Pacific. You do the time zone math for you. Eddie's in the chat. Tyler's in the chat. I got some plans. Coming up in the next few weeks for some people coming on. A few things here and there, and we'll see how that goes. Maybe so. Anyway, I hope you're having a good Valentine's Day. I hope you are. Let's put the chat up here so we get the full experience. Here we are. Dwayne's here, Eddie's here, Tyler's here. Drinking water tonight. Here's my water tonight. Here's my plan, which is it's only 4:00 in the afternoon. My wife and I went out last night to our favorite restaurant. And by the way, someone put a message. Maybe I need to go check this out here. Let's go to someone, I don't know, it was on Spotify or where you had it, but they made a comment. So maybe we should look at this comment here because published. Let's take it. Okay. This person said, this was J.J. Riley. A day ago on the video about did Tyler win a trial. He put, I've never heard someone use so many words to say almost nothing. Phew, 17 minutes in. And I just said, I gave him a heart and I go, keep going. Now, I thought last time's show was good. I gave you a breakdown of the trial. It wasn't, maybe it wasn't good. Maybe J.J. Riley has a point. I don't know. I mean, look, there are shows out there like maybe a Candace Owens where she's telling you about the Brigitte Macron stuff, right? And they're boom, get to it, pop, pop, pop. This is a little less formal, and we chit chat a little bit. You know, you come here, and I understand. So just putting a warning out there, I'm going to tell you a little personal stuff. It's Valentine's, and then we'll get into the show, motherfuckers. So JJ, I'm sorry. Skip forward maybe a little bit. Keep skipping. You're not quite there yet. By the way, someone else said best intro in podcasting. So go, if you find the show on, what do you call it? On any of the podcast catchers or any of those things out there, go out there, make some comments. And this one right here, you're right there right now. Just click like, click subscribe, whatnot. You get the, all the info. But we went out last night. It's our favorite Italian restaurant. It's just right down there. It's just, I'm pointing to the left. It's just a little bit south. It was walking distance, and they've been closed for a while, putting in, fixing their bar, making it bigger. So we went there, and it's always trouble trying to get a spot because it's really small, but it's a nice restaurant. So, and the bartender, it's the owner's son, whatever. So he's just super great. They're all great. So we go in there last night because they had reopened, and the big bar now, you could sit there and eat and da-da-da-da. And I don't know that I enjoyed, that was kind of our Valentine's thing. I don't know that I enjoyed it. And the reason being was I always liked the other one. It was quaint, kind of packed in there. I'd always go sit in the far end of the corner. There's a TV there, the coffee and the beer and whatnot. And I kind of liked it, the intimacy. What I didn't like was it was always hard to try to get a spot. So I'm like, sweet, bigger place, bigger area. It's going to be easier to get a spot. There was just more people in there, more crowded, just as many, just the bigger crowd, more people waiting. So it's going to be a problem. And so I missed the intimacy of that. Anyway, happy Valentine's Day. My wife gave me some things. I'm looking at them right here, and I got her something too. So we usually don't go big on this thing, but you know, sometimes you have to just to make sure that they know that you're in charge. you're taking things serious, I guess. Okay, so is Doge a constitutional crisis? There's all kinds of stuff on the internet. Now, I haven't really gotten into this very much. Hang on. I haven't really gotten into this much because, one, I feel that there's probably, once I do, geez, I can't talk. Once I do get into this, I'll probably have some issues and have to worry about my own hypocrisy. But I love the dismantling of the structure, going after a lot of these sacred towers. And this USAID, I'm not going to call it US aid because it sounds like it's aid, foreign aid, which it kind of is. I heard Mike Benz talking about it on Glenn Greenwald. And his point with a lot of these USAID programs isn't that, and here's the boomer take. And I think he's probably right. But here's the boomer take. Oh my God, you're giving money for like a trans thing. And that's just stupid. And doesn't matter what it's being used for. It's just crap. His point in all this is like, look, these programs aren't necessarily woke. What they're trying to do is destabilize governments in those areas. So it's a subversion thing rather than what the money's actually being used for. Because the way the boomers and the righties try to make it sound like, and it is a way of manipulating the data as far as that it's all bad, which is, you don't want your money going for this. Okay, I get it. But Benz's point is the money isn't going for that program so much as it is to subvert problems in those areas. And break down culture, I guess, is really what it is. So I could be upset, but the real issue is it's just manipulation of countries and governments and peoples all around the world. And that should be part of the problem. And just that it's good. I don't care. So part of that is, okay, you see the Ben Shapiro types and you're using that for trans stuff. Okay, yeah, I get it. But the real bigger thing is that it's just being dismantled. And for whatever reason it is, I don't know that I really care. So that's good. So when Doge comes in and starts to, in a sense, clean house or finding all this filth, it is funny to watch the reactions from the other side, right? It's just pathetic people over there trying to hold their institutional power and their money grabs that they've got going on. So I'm fine with that. And so is it constitutional? I don't know. Are those programs constitutional in the first place? Right. And that could be an issue. So, but I imagine you're going to get a lot of, lawsuits and stuff about this. So, we'll go through and look, I think the best thing that's going to happen is you're going to end up ripping a bunch of this stuff down. If they are going and saying Doge and going in there and the review of this is not constitutional, that might open the door to determine whether those administrations, whatever they're going after, are constitutional. And Dwayne says the administration state sucks. Yeah, it does. It's never ending. Got tons of money coming into these things, and we're out here trying to pay our taxes and do the best we can, inflation, whatnot. And someone's house gets burned down or gets destroyed out there in North Carolina. Meanwhile, PolitiFact and all these other company, just Reuters getting billions of dollars. Unbelievable. So Dwayne, let's keep going here. Dwayne says, we have zero actual control of what happens with the money after it leaves the U.S. That's my problem. Yeah, well, we don't have much control over it when it leaves our pockets. That's perhaps the great aspect of it. So let's go here because what's his name? You guys know him as No Way Jose. That's pretty much how I know him too. I don't actually know the dude's real name. I know Toad's real name. I don't know Toad's real name, but I don't know the real name of No Way Jose. But he'd read this tweet the other day, and I thought it was a good place to start. So we'll do this. I've got some other constitutional stuff, a few articles here and there, and we'll go at it. So this is Tom Renz. This post has only garnered 13.9 million views, so he's done pretty good for himself. Okay. Doge, I imagine he's an attorney. Let's double check here. Support at Tom Rand's Substack, new episodes. I don't know. He has a podcast. I'm assuming he's an attorney because he's given an attorney's perspective. Good. You don't have to be smart to be an attorney, but I mean, I'm not knocking him. Jessica, Forrest Mommy comes in here and says, "Happy Friday. Hit the like button." Yeah, appreciate that. Everybody do what she says over there. Okay, Doge, lawyer's perspective on Elon Musk, real Donald Trump policy centerpiece. I inherently do not trust the media, so I decided to look, way to go, look into Doge myself to see what was under the hood. And initially, I was quite concerned about the legality of a, quote, new agency created by executive order, but that, just like everything else, is a lie put out by the mainstream. The order is here and the thread is below. Okay, so we've seen that with other things, when Trump was coming in, doing executive orders and people are freaking out and like, you can't do that. And it's like, well, it was started by an executive order. You can remand it by, reverse it by an executive order. So Jordan says he doesn't like these online attorneys. Okay. I'm not an online attorney. I'm just an attorney who happens to be online. Okay, right now. I don't know if that was your point or what you were saying, but okay. Hang on, I'm gonna get this other thing set up here. I need to. Okay, I think it's not what I wanted on that one. How about this one? Sorry, I'm getting things set up for the other side. You'll see what I'm talking about at some point. Nope, not that one either. Let's try this one. I think that might be the one. Okay, this is great. This is great TV, great video here. Okay, there we go. We at least got that going on there. Okay, so let's keep reading on, and so let's look at the Doge, actually how it was created, because that's obviously going to be an important part of this whole shebang. And sorry, I'm trying to get it so we have multiple views. Okay, yeah. See where we go. Now we can go back and forth as we need. Okay, so let's read the executive order. By authority vested in me as president, the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it hereby ordered Section 1, purpose. The executive order establishes the Department of Government efficiency and implement President Doge agenda by modernizing federal technology and software to maximize government efficiency and productivity. That's a key part. Definitions as used in this order. Agency. Agency has the meaning given it to in Section 551 of Title V U.S. Code, except that such term does not include the executive office of the president or any components thereof. Agency head means the highest ranking official of an agency. Okay. Section 3, Doge structure. A, reorganization and renaming of the United States Digital Service. That part is key, which this is not showing it on here very well. Let's go to, what if we did this? Bam and bam. There we go. Agent. So it's a renaming of an existing agency. And I don't know that you're really redefining its purpose, but there you go. That's through it. Jordan says, just goofing. Hope you have a good Friday council. You can dislike, look, I just watch my show. I appreciate that. But yeah, you can have opinions. You can hate people. I hate online attorneys. Barnes. Okay. So it renamed the U.S. Digital Service. Okay, and reorganized it. The United States Digital Service is hereby publicly renamed the United States Doge Service. Instead of digital, just put Doge, and shall be established in the executive office of the president. Okay? Establishment of a temporary organization. So it's temporary, right? There shall be a USDS administrator established at the executive office of the president who shall report to the White House chief of staff. There is further established within the USDS, in accordance with Section 3161 of the Title V, let's keep going, a temporary org known as U.S. Doge Service Temporary Organization. Now, temporary could be, there's temporary restraining orders, like civil restraining orders that have been indefinite. So, there you go. The U.S. Doge Service Temporary Organization shall be headed by the USDS admin and shall be dedicated by advancing the president's 18-month Doge agenda. I thought it saw 18. I thought it was going to be something about 18-year-olds to work in their department. The Doge temporary org shall terminate. Oh, it has a termination date on July 4, 2026. The termination of U.S. Doge. So you're looking at just a year, a little over a year and a half. Okay, so take it easy, people. Termination of the Doge service temporary org shall not be interpreted to imply the termination, attenuation, or amendment of any other authority or provision of this order. Doge teams in consultation. Okay, that I'm not going to look at. Let's see what else we say here. Modernizing federal technology. This is the part that I think they're really going. The USDS admin shall commence a software modernization initiative to improve the quality and efficiency of government-wide software, network infrastructure, and information technology systems. Among other things, the USDS admin shall work with agency heads to promote interoperability between agency networks to ensure data. So the idea was to modernize this. And with that modernization, I guess they're coming in and they're just saying, oh, you know what? Also a problem is your spending, or they're just releasing this. And this Tom Renz will get into. The agency heads shall take all necessary steps in coordination with the USDS admin to maximize the extent consistent with the law to ensure USDS has full and prompt access to unclassified, agency records, software systems, IT systems. The USDS shall adhere to rigorous data protection standards. Executive order displaces all prior executive orders, regulations insofar as they are subject to direct presidential amendment that might serve as a barrier to providing USDS agent access to agency records and systems. Okay, so get on all records. Nothing in this order shall be construed to impair or affect otherwise the authority granted by law to an executive department or agency. Okay, that's just reiterating stuff here. The order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substance, or procedural enforcement of law or an equity by any party against the United States. Okay, so yeah, we're done there. Boom. Let's go back. All right, so I think this is where we're at. Okay, let's just keep going. To understand anything the government does, this Tom Renz goes on here, it's usually best to start with the law or something else I might be able to sue over. In this case, the executive order itself was the same thing to see. It continues on. As you can see, this document is barely 2 pages and certainly not written in legalese. While not a complicated read, the plan was brilliant, says Tom. Trump did not actually create a new agency. Instead, he did what he did was repurpose an existing agency, the USDS, into something more useful. And this is where it comes out to where we just had read the reorganizing and renaming the digital to Doge. The USDS is an Obamacare government software better. Okay. They were essentially software development for the bureaucracy. Trump renamed the agency to Doge Service, which even kept the acronym the same. Not only did repurposing an appropriate existing department allow Trump to ensure there was funding for Doge without having to fight with Congress, he also ensured its legality. Improving. Okay, let's keep going. To see, Trump has power to set priorities for executive branch departments, but there are limits. In the case of Doge, Trump clearly had a team of lawyers looking at ways to accomplish this goal legally. USDS already there and funded for the purpose. 44 USC chapter. Let's go. 36. Wait, let's just skip down here. There we go. 36 of the law that facilitates much of the USD. Oh, to the gym later. That's so, you know, that's oh to the gym later. That's so, you know, that's my plan here. Eddie Graham says, yeah, hit like. Thanks for first mommy. Tom Renz, back to the Doge. At the same time, Trump also wanted to bring in Elon Musk, and at the time, Vivek G. Ramaswamy and his team for the initial major audit clean sweep. To do this, Trump referenced another law, 5 U.S.C. 3161. The law governs the creation of and staffing what is known as temporary organization in the government. This group will focus on pushing the Doge agenda and will exist for 18 months. though their work will survive. By including the group as temporary, Trump dodged several potential lawsuits that he may not have been able to create his own new administrative entity on the permanent basis without congressional approval. Okay. Tom Renz continues, Trump also ordered the Doge teams be hired in every administrative branch agency. These teams are to include a team lead, a lawyer, an HR person, and an engineer. These teams work for USDS Doge, but work with and within various agencies. While this part of a software, modernization initiative, looking at the software and how things are managed, and it is a great way to find out where there is waste, particularly when part of the mandate is to ensure efficiency. And that's the big deal. And then here's the implementing part of that, part C. And I'm not going to read it because we already went over it. The last part of the post is all important boilerplate. Trump orders all agencies to support Doge initiative, disclaims any other prior executive orders that could interfere with this order, and makes a conflict of law statements. This was further insulation to make this harder for political opponents to fight in court. And there we go. We read that boilerplate stuff. Last point, says Tom. I don't like that this has to be done and think the executive branch has far more authority than they should. That said, this order was very well done, and Trump and Musk have really done a good job strategically here. Here's to hoping these guys follow through on the MAGA Maha mandate that we have the people have given to do everything possible to ensure the American people have the best future imaginable for our kids. Now, yeah, what is fascinating is some of the objections to this now is stuff like, oh, they have our personal data. And I'm like, you go to the DMV, we just had a DMV thing here. They have all my personal data. Everybody has you randos and then that I didn't elect. They all have our personal data. So I don't know what the fuck you guys are, but it's the fact that it's coming after their sacred cows, so to speak. All right, so pretty good info there, I think. Now, Department of Doge actually has a website. Should we actually look at that? I don't know. There's a lot going on there. I can't. Let's maybe if we take a look, kind of just go through this is it. It doesn't look too. You can follow them on Twitter. There's about 1.9 billion in HUD money was just recovered after being misplaced during the Biden administration due to a broken process. The funds were earmarked for the administration of financial services, but they're no longer needed. Okay. 1.9, we just did that one. 167 cancellation of savings, 115 million, including 2 million contract for HHS for equity assessment of existing program policies. Department of Education terminated grants to the 4 equity assistance centers totaling 33 million. One provided professional learning around critical race theory and racial literacy. Video below. Just canceled a $50 billion Biden-era environmental justice grant to the Climate Justice Alliance, which believes climate justice travels through a free Palestine. Okay. Instead of improving outcomes for students, here's what taxpayer dollars were going. 4.6 million contract to coordinate. And by the way, this stuff has probably been known. You could probably find it. No one cares. But when it's this Doge situation, now it becomes a situation, a reality where it's like now I'm reading about it. Because, and the reasons why is not we just finding out, oh, we spent, how many million for a hammer. It's like, oh, we're stopping that. There's actually consequences to finding these things, which we've never had before. It's just, we all get a bitch and complain about what it is, what's happening. And just by the way, I don't make sure are we still streaming? Everybody good here? We bitch and complain and moan about, okay, looks like it's good. Complain about these things and then nothing happens. Something's happening. And that's how we're actually hearing about things that are happening, which is pretty exciting. EPA also canceled 3 DEI contracts, saving American taxpayers $45 million. Jesus. 58 cancellations with savings of $150 million. Identified 25,000 award entitled Empowering LGBTQIA+ refugees in Greece. This is the stuff that does. Now, this is an interesting one. This is ongoing here where FEMA payments, and then it was happening anyway. And Kristi Noem then, who's, by the way, she's annoying. She has, it's like cosplay every day out there. But she's like, I've clawed back the full payments that FEMA deep state activists unilaterally gave to New York City migrant hotels. Hotels. FEMA was funding the Roosevelt Hotel that serves as the Tren de Aragua base of operations and was used to house Laken Riley's killer. Okay, see, it doesn't matter that it was used to house Laken Riley's killer. That gets a little annoying that they, but that's how the conservative boomers do it. What else we got here? Okay, and we'll go on because I think what I want to actually talk about is actually read some of the constitutional questions about it. And I had one. Let's see where it went. Student suspended for creating but not sharing nudified deep fakes of classmates. That's something we may need to get into at some point or another. I had it here. Josh Blackman wrote it. And did Truman disobey a federal district court? No, not that one. Not that one. Trump administration power. No. Where did it go? Oh boy. I thought I had clicked it to save it for us. Okay. Well, I don't know. For some reason I don't have it. But we can go through one of these. Doge. Is Doge a constitutional crisis? Let's go here. I'm sorry. I really wanted to get this Josh Blackman article. Because he was talking about Trump denying or not going along with the orders. And now I don't see it. Did they pull it down? Did they pull it down? That would have been weird. Okay, now I don't know where it went, honestly. But I'm a little disturbed here. Eric Adams case, we don't want about that. FTC bans the political appointees from being ABA members. It's not that one. Short circuit of that. Nope. Women convicted. Nope. First annual. Nope. How did board diversity mandates affect firm value? That's a nudified deepfakes. Colorado appellate. One step closer. I don't know what that is. System errors in due process. Supreme Court invoking sovereign. Nope. Not that one. Open AI debate. Create. Nope. Not that one. Did Truman admin disobey a federal district court's injunction in Youngstown? No. Trump administration position on presidential powers to remove commission members. It wasn't that one. Can you appeal administrative stay by a district court? It wasn't that one. This is pissing me off, folks. I really wanted to read this. It's not that one. Due process. Supreme Court. Trump's personal defamation lawsuit against Pfizer. It's not that one. UCLA. No. Posting employer racist. Nope. Cost and benefits of due process. Maybe we'll get to that someday. Judge bias. DACA. Did they pull this down? Here you go. The danger of Trump disobeying and this isn't even it. This is Ilya Salman. So he's talking about, fuck. Okay. Well, here we go. Let's, Doge data needs data to survive. These lawsuits are trying to starve it of information. I thought we would possibly read this one, but I'm gonna have to change our doohickey here. All right, this is Reason Magazine. Christian Brits Shaggy, and reason I go to Reason is because some of it annoys the fuck out of me the way that they take these on. So, but they give a different analysis. You at least know where they're coming from. So I hold them to a different. They're not going to necessarily be lying about. They might. I shouldn't say that, but let's take a look here. In its brief existence, Elon Musk helmed Department of Government Efficiency Doge has provoked remarkably effective at one thing, attracting lawsuits. Over the past several weeks, dozens of lawsuits have been filed challenging every aspect of the new initiative and its activities. A handful of these lawsuits argue that the very existence of Doge is illegal and that Musk's role as a non-Senate confirmed special government employee with massive authority to set policy is unconstitutional. Well, I think that's a misunderstanding of, I mean, that's what they're just claiming that are being said, but I think that's a massive misunderstanding of actually what is going on. By installing Musk and his Doge team at former U.S. Digital Service, President Donald Trump has transformed a minor position that was formerly responsible for governing government websites into a designated agent of chaos without limitation and in violation of separation powers, reads a lawsuit filed by 14 Democrat state attorneys general yesterday. It is crazy. I mean, they just want the money flowing, which, getting involved with these states is on these lawsuits is crazy. On the other end of the spectrum are the numerous lawsuits that challenge the government slashing fruits of Doge, the cancellation of various grants, the partial closure of U.S. agencies and international development, the dismissal of staffers there, the Trump administration's, quote, fork in the road, unquote, deferred resignation program for federal workers, and more. Sitting in between these two types of lawsuits is yet another set of complaints that challenges Doge's access to the basic digital infrastructure of government, including U.S. Treasury Department's payment systems and government personal data held by the Office of Personnel Management, OPM. Just Securities, that's some name of something, litigation tracker lists 8 lawsuits challenging Doge's access to government data, and that appears to be an undercount. While there's a third docket of lawsuits that might sound mundane, it likely represents the biggest threat to Doge's work. Plaintiffs in these records access lawsuits allege that Doge access to record systems is enabling the administration's other lawless activity, like illegally stopping grant payments and deleting whole agencies without congressional approval. Where's our Musk himself has said that Doge access to things like treasury payment system is essential to a mission of rooting out fraud and other payments and whittling down the federal budget deficit. Whether or not the billionaire's role in the government is constitutional won't mean much if Doge is still locked out of real access to federal agency data. Whether the Doge-inspired cuts in the federal spending and staffing can stick is downstream of whether Doge has enough information to identify payments personnel worthy of the chopping block. Doge's fiercest critics and its most ardent cheerleaders seem to think that access to government data is where the action is at. Yeah, because and by the way, I don't know if that means much of anything other than that is a way to get people panicked. Hey, it's a way to it's just like saying that the money goes for LGBT stuff. The right then freaks out. In general, saying that, someone you don't know that doesn't have authority has your access to your deepest, darkest secrets. It's like, listen, bitch, we've had the NSA. We've had these government. You should be upset that your information is there to be gathered in the first place. Okay. The fact that they're like, oh, now Musk can get it. It's like, whoa. Why is it there? Why are you collecting all this data on all of us? And so, it's a little bit much to now say, oh, now the data's there. Now Musk shouldn't have it. Well, yeah. How about no one has it? You pieces of shit. By the way, I just get to this real quick. Dwayne says, my question is, why do Dems protest so much? If this was so bad, both parties would be protesting. My question is, why do Dems protest so much? You mean protest or protest? Like, why are they pushing back on this so much? If this was so bad, both parties would be protest. Well, look, both parties. I'm shocked that the GOP is okay with what's going on with Doge, because they just want to get their hands in the pot too. So I'm thoroughly shocked by it, and I honestly believe this is the Trump part taking over doing this. Because in reality, this is where the mindset for a lot of these, conservatives should be, which is whittling down the government. It just never happens. They just never have had the balls. They just now have a leader and Musk as well with the balls to actually cut these programs. I mean, you're seeing massive layoffs, and all this, and I think it's great. And it's the mentality of that, a Dr. Paul might come in there and be part of this. Now he's old, but he's got the mindset of a slasher. So that's one good thing to do. So usually it's all about power and keeping that power, and power stems with a lot of money. You can do a lot of stuff with that. So that's what hey, lay off the boomers. My pronouns are old, grumpy. Hey, Dwayne, I'm sorry if you're a boomer. It's more of I've called people like Posobiec, Cernovich, and these types boomers as well, because it's the logic. And a boomer is not so much even the actual, when were you born necessarily. I'm using it as a pejorative for people that just are stuck. They've taken so much blue pill that's the only way they can see. And you can have blue pilled on all kinds of sides, right? But it's just, you go with your tribe, and whatever the tribe is hailing that day, you're buying, Daily Wire chocolates, you're protesting about something else. So whatever, that's kind of what I'm talking about with that. Trigger warning, let him cook. Yeah. I don't know who's cooking, but let's do it. 5 Democratic Treasury secretaries argued in the New York Times that giving political appointees and Doge staffers who lack training and experience, give me a fucking break. Look who's in Congress. Look who's in all these departments. Access to payment systems typically handed by career civil servants is corrosive to our democracy. That's hard to read that and not laugh. Career civil servants. Who would you rather? Who would you go to get something done? An 18-year-old hacker or a career civil servant? And which one would you trust with your money? One steals all the time. The other one might have a moral code. They talk about a code between thieves. I don't think civil servants they don't think of themselves as thieves, so they don't have a code, that they would adhere to, where a hacker might. And by the way, the hackers or whoever is employed by Doge, you don't think they're going through a background check? Give me a break. More positively, Samuel Hammond of the Foundation of American Innovation argued in late January essay that Doge's inserting into government's core IT systems offered an opportunity for an FDR-style remaking of the federal government that, if successful, will bring unprecedented transparency to federal spending while laying the infrastructure needed for a significant downsizing in the federal workforce through automations. Okay, so what's wrong with that? While a number of records access lawsuits raise deeper legal and constitutional claims, their primary complaint is that Doge staffers and other Trump administration appointees were given access to government data without following the proper notice and procedural requirements contained in a long list of federal privacy statutes. There you go. These are just really Karens that are worried that you're not following the steps, right? The most are a bunch of autists that say you have to, here's a checklist and you haven't gone to no, that's an excuse. That's a legal argument. We do that often, right? That something comes about, one party is supposed to have done something with a deadline, and you harp so that it gets either thrown out, technical, whatever. That's what you do. So that's what they're just hoping. They don't really actually care. The most consequential of these lawsuits thus far is the one filed by 19 Democrat state attorneys general in the U.S. District Court of the Southern District in New York. That's already resulted in a restraining order preventing Doge staffers and other appointees from assessing the Treasury Bureau of the Fiscal Services, the BFS. Now, I understood, it could be wrong, but this judge, his wife, I think, was receiving USAID. Okay. BFS system collectively dispersed roughly $5.5 trillion in federal payments each year to states, localities, grantees, contractors, and individual beneficiaries of government programs, and contain personal information like bank account. Look, if you're just stopping payments, it's not like in exchange for stopping this, we are now collecting the data. I hope that's not, Musk isn't doing that's his ulterior motive. I don't know if you guys ever saw Westworld, but that was the whole concept there. It was really about data mining, right? They were trying to data mine in a sense for the new Westworld, not the original one. These systems have traditionally been operated by career employees at the Treasury Department and access them so they're getting access to them, tightly regulated through the 1974 Privacy Act. I want to say Piracy Act. Privacy Act. It is piracy though. among other federal laws that control officials' access to government-held personal identifiable information. While the Privacy Act contains a sweeping restriction on agencies sharing an individual's personal identification information without the consent, it also provides a long list of exceptions to that restriction. As Congressional Research Service report from 2023 notes, it's generally been left up to the Office of Management and Budget, OMB, an executive agency, to decide when interagency data sharing qualifies for certain exemptions from the Privacy Act. Now, what's interesting is now they're all worried about these inter-office things. Now, when it was the Chevron decision that got remanded back or turned over in a sense, narrowed down, that we had that by the Supreme Court earlier. The arguments at the time were a lot of just like, let these departments do what the fuck they want, no oversight. You know, they're making the rules. And I think, I'm trying to remember, but I think that was part of the Chevron ruling, which was you can't just enact and have a department just go and start making their own rules that have already been laid out. So I could be a little bit wrong there, but you know, there's deference being given to some So this is a two-way argument, which is, okay, you want to continue this to happen with these agencies. You don't want to have this control. You don't want this agency to have its own unilateral control, and you want to continue doing your own thing without any oversight. So which is it? Little half of one and half of the other. The state's lawsuit primary claim is that no exception to the Privacy Act could reasonably apply to Doge staffers or other political appointees who had been given access to BFS record systems, and that notice requirements were clearly not followed. By acting without legal authority, the Trump admin violated the Administration Procedural Act, the state claims. The state's claim. For good measure, the suing Democratic attorneys general also argued that Trump administration violated the separation of powers doctrine and the Constitution's Take Care clause. Take care. In response to that lawsuit, the Trump admin has made a pretty far-reaching constitutional claim of its own, effectively to the courts, that the courts have no power to limit political appointees' access to Treasury data. Okay. The restraining order is a remarkable intrusion on the executive branch that is in direct conflict with Article 2 of the Constitution and the unitary structure it provides, said administration in a legal filing in the case. Basic democratic accountability requires that every executive agency work to be supervised by politically accountable leadership who ultimately answer to the president. A federal court, consistent with the separation of powers, cannot insulate any portion of their work from the specter of political accountability. A hearing on whether to grant a more permanent preliminary injunction in that case is scheduled for today. Okay, what day was that? I don't know. Let's do this highlight so I can find it again. When was this done? Today. Okay. So we might get a ruling on that. While that case is ongoing, there's been a long list of lawsuits making very similar legal claims about the access that Doge has been given to OPM files that contain private information on current and former employees and job applicants. There you go. You know what? I bet they're worried about stuff coming out. Remember, I think Thomas Massey, some of them have talked about this, where their Congress has made massive settlements for sexual harassment and all kinds of stuff like that of Congress members to their staff and whatnot. Those are not public. No one knows about these. That's the kind of shit we need to know about. Let's look at the chat real quick, make sure we are not missing anything. Minder, is this live? No. What are we talking about today? It says Minder. Trigger warning says Elon's tech fellows were the best Israelis Israel was willing to do. Okay. Hubbleson said Michael Crichton wrote 2 books about a theme park gone wrong. Yes, he did. You saying DC is a theme park? Imagineers, yeah. The MSM sounded like a psyop for about 3 days. All we heard were big balls. Yeah. As I said, due to my own balls, which was like when Big Balls got doxxed, I felt like a part of me had been exposed. Okay. Hearing constitutional crisis has been nauseating. Well, and Ron, not Ron's in here, LPR, FLFG. I have this is the good and the bad about this show, which is I'm here to talk to you about it and talk. I've been ignoring a lot of this week. right? That's part of my problem. I wanted to put on a great show and prep, and then all week I'm just like blasted with work. I come home, I'm doing other things, and I'm just like, I can't do any prep. But I wanted to read some of these things, and I thought we'd go through them, which we're doing. We're doing in a very concerted way here, because I'm learning a lot here. And I do have to find this Josh Blackman. I do. Fools Rush In Department. Sorry, I'm looking for it because he had a whole article about whether it was constitutional or not for. That's not the one. Whether it was constitutional crisis, whether Trump could like say no, basically, to these court orders, and what would happen about that. And his point was that Trump hadn't actually said no to a lot of them. Okay. Where we left off? Okay. There we go. While that case is ongoing, there's been a long list of lawsuits making other claims that Doge has been given to OPM files okay, we said that. In a suit filed Monday, EPIC, the Electronic Privacy Information Center, and an anonymous government employee alleged that Doge's access to OPM record systems containing information on individual employees' pay and benefits violates the Privacy Act, the Administration Procedures Act, and due process protections of the Fifth Amendment. Doge's access to OPM and Treasury records amounts to, quote, the largest and most consequential data breach in the U.S. history, the lawsuit. Now, this is what a data breach I would assume would be, which is releasing the stuff. Okay, so there's got to be they're going to have to make a determination whether this Doge can even do this. And if they can't do their job and they can't get in there and look at stuff because reminds me, you do a FOIA request, right? And they're finally getting a Freedom of Information Act. They're finally going to give you the data, and then every fucking thing is redacted. It's of no use. They're going to try to do that to limit where you're not going to be able to find any of this fraud. And it's just like, I'm sorry, it's protected. It's like, then how do you ever get to the bottom of this? How is this ever going to happen if you're not allowed to have someone in there? It's going to be what? Just one person with some sort of clearance? They're going to have to get clearance at some point. Clearance. On Tuesday, a lawsuit filed, fifth minute. Biggest data breach in lawsuit in history. The lawsuit claims. Then Tuesday, the lawsuit making near identical legal claims against Doge's access to OPM records was filed by the AFL-CIO, a collection of government employee unions, and the current. God, this makes you just you just don't hate these people enough. And government employees, unlike most of the other Doge lawsuits, the AFL-CIO complaint names Musk as an individual defendant. A few weeks prior, a collection of anonymous federal employees sued the OPM for allowing Doge officials to set up a server that could send emails from the OPM to all career employees. This was the system Trump administration used to send all employees the fork in the road deferred resignation offer. Sweet. Doing so, the anonymous plaintiff alleged violated the 2002 Government Act's requirement that privacy protections be laid out before any new electronic collection of personal information is made. A handful of other lawsuits have been filed by government employees, unions, public university students. Good Lord. Public university students, go fuck yourself. And public school teachers, go fuck yourself. Public school teachers, raising similar Privacy Act and Administration Procedure Act claims against Doge access to private data and employee records held within the Department of Labor and Education and Consumer. Here's the result. Fuck these departments. Let's get rid of the Department of Education. Let's get rid of the Department of Labor. Let's get rid of the Education and Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Then you don't have to worry about it. We're done and over. I mean, I hope that they just stay with me. Treat this like Gaza. Save for the state's lawsuits against, hate me. Doge's access to Treasury data as of the writing. None of those lawsuits have resulted in any additional restraining orders being granted. The administration counter-arguments of those cases have all generally been on the more limited grounds by standing on the technical requirements of the relevant privacy protections in play. Reading through all these lawsuits, one gets a sense of a real clash between two ways of doing things. Old school Washington proceduralism versus Silicon Valley style disruption. Okay, that's fine what you think, and that's the way they want this to go. because there's only so many ways that the establishment and the crooks can keep their hands on the pot and to keep you out. They do have to look for a technical reason, and one of those could be procedural. You didn't go, okay, so if we go to the procedural route, then you're gonna pull the lawsuit? No, they're not gonna pull the lawsuit. They're not gonna be fine with that. They want to stop it here. So I get that that's what it feels like, but that's not the reality. That's just the facade that's being put up right now. And you have to do that if you're on that other side doing that. You get every aspect, every kind of way that you can to stop this. The anti-Doge lawsuits inevitably mention the comparative youth of Doge staffers given access to government data. Many cite the danger that government records will be fed into AI systems. Okay, first of all, the age, if they're legal to work there, now you're ageism, right? You're not, give me a fucking break. They just had Biden in office, and that was perfectly fine. I don't give a shit. There's smart people doing the job. They're either qualified or not. But this is, I guess, your DEI now, which is we can't, DEI doesn't extend to age. What's that? In a telling line in a legal filing in the case, anonymous government employees challenging Doge's access to OPM email servers. Okay, I said mail, and I wanted to specify it wasn't male, female, it was, but it's email servers. Okay, the plaintiff complains that, quote, the sole purpose of these new Doge created systems is expendency. I don't know why I have a problem with that word. Expediency. There you go. Doge defenders might well say exactly. The initiative's mission is to make government more efficient. The sheer number of laws that Doge is accused of violating could even be seen as evidence of the initiative's necessity. If the president can't even set up a server to email all employees at once without getting sued, bureaucratic sclerosis is indeed out of control. I agree. So far, I mean, I like this article. It's just giving me the details here. Cross-partisan critique of government in recent years is that everything that the government does is bogged down in endless process for the sake of process. Whether it's permitting new energy infrastructure or allowing new vape products to come to market, the government process takes forever, and any final decision runs the risk of years of litigation. By skipping the process, Doge has run straight into the litigation. To some degree, these fights about Doge access to data are orthogonal to typical libertarian concerns about the government size and scope. Even if Doge's data access makes it successful at rooting out fraud, waste, and unnecessary federal positions, that can only do so much to bring government spending down. The president having more control over his executive branch underlings doesn't immediately change how much control the government has over private citizens. But notice those aren't private citizens filing these complaints, all public. Government officials' easier access to individuals' private data does present privacy and cybersecurity concerns, but that compounds the pre-existing privacy problem of the government hovering over all those data in the first place. Absolutely. Thank you. Whether you're hot or cold on Doge government slashing potential, everyone agrees. It needs data to survive. Record access lawsuits might starve it of them. Okay, pretty good informational deal there. I'm sorry, I'm stuck on this Josh Blackman Trump. Let's just see if I can find this here. Let's go Trump. Fallout of the Eric Adams, Trump wrote Daniel. No, that's not it. Okay, let's keep going. FTC bans political appointees from being AVA members. No. Wait. What happened there? Was it? Nope, that's not it. I'm sorry. You guys are going to be hating me for this. But he wrote, and it was... No, that's not it. That's not it either. Not there. Just hang with me. I need the music going on. It's like, it's your waiting. Do civics outlook. Nope. Due process and AI. Nope. Wednesday thread. Nope. No domestic violence. I did this before. Costs and benefits of due process. Supreme Court, judge bias. Long range dispute to Thompson Reuters. Nope. DACA. Nope. Danger of Trump disobeying court orders updated. Boom. I think they were fixing it. That's why I didn't see it. Let's go to the chat real quick. See if we have a full chat. Tesla stock has been dropping recently. Okay. Dwayne says hi. Trigger warning says China EV build EV long time. People are around sensitive information every day. Yes, they are. Email sexism gonna bury this channel more. Hero Max. Oh boy, here we go. Thanks, Max. Thanks for following me on Twitter. I followed you back. Elon also needs to get to work on saving those stranded astronauts on the IS. Yes, International Space System. Boy, it got on his plate. Okay. There's the elevator music that we wanted. Let's go here. The danger of Trump disobeying court orders by Josh Blackman. Oh, this is Ilya Salman. Motherfucker. This is not the one I wanted to read. God damn it, I did this one. Let's see if this is Trump. I always abide by the courts, but then I'll have to appeal it. Okay, I don't know if that's the one I wanted. Court throws out lawsuit over journalist. Let's just go with this one. President Trump gave a press conference today in the Oval Office. A reporter asked, if a judge does block one of your policies, will you abide by that ruling? Trump replied without hesitation, I always abide by the court, but then I'll have to appeal it. You can see in the video, okay, I'm not going to read that one. I always abide by the court. Everyone needs to take a deep, deep breath. There is no constitutional crisis. And to be clear, none of the temporary restraining orders run against the president. The injunctions run against appointed officers of the executive branch. It is impossible for Trump to ignore any of these pending orders because they do not actually bind him. Have we learned anything from Seth Bartlett Tillman's work on ex parte Merriman? See Ed Willen's post today. So what are people actually afraid of? They are afraid that Trump will order his subordinates to disobey a court order. I've seen no evidence of that. At most, it is difficult for government to comply with the torrent of nationwide TROs. If the court finds there are willful efforts to not comply, that may be different. Instead, I think they will find government struggling to keep up on the litigation front. Okay, so I think he had a longer post about this, and I think he took it down. I think Blackman had this up, and then he ended up taking it down, and they put this one up instead because he had a whole thing about this today. But let's see what this Ed Whalen motherfucker is saying on here. Advert about blew my eardrums. There's an advert. I'm sorry guys, if you got an advert coming in there. Got to make money. I'm revenue sharing here. On the rule of law, the presidential defiance of judicial orders. There are rumblings that President Trump is considering disobeying various court orders that have been issued against his administration. Perhaps these rumblings are distorted or exaggerated, but I figure that I would sketch some thoughts on the topic. One, I'll emphasize at the outset that I do not think it defiant or even remarkable for the federal government to decline to comply with an order while it seeks emergency relief from that order. Okay, so there's an order out there, a restraining order that or a stay, and the court and this guy is basically saying, hey, look, yeah, that's nice, but you're going to appeal it, and while you're doing that, you're not really going to follow it. I need to fix this up here. No. There we go. There. I think we're getting better going here. Okay, let's keep going here. For an extreme example, take Justin William Douglas's single justice order on August 3, 1973 that would have barred U.S. military operations in or over Cambodia. The Solicitor General filed an application to overturn the order on August 4, and the Supreme Court granted the application that same day. Would anyone seriously contend that the President Nixon was obligated to cease military operations in or over Cambodia for the time he learned of Douglas's order until the time the court overturned it? In much mundane context, it will often be to cease that a district court will deny the government's request for a stay or its preliminary injunction when the government fails to comply with the injunction during the very short period that it seeks an emergency stay from a higher court. I would not characterize that course of action as defiant. I believe there was it's happened with OSHA and Biden, and he just said, and you know, maybe this is what we need to bring up. We need to find that, because I think it first went up to the Supreme Court, and they denied that he had the vaccines, that Biden could do this, can force vaccines under the OSHA. Okay. Now, there was an emergency one, I think, that first went up, and he just did nothing about it. And then it came up again. So they had two aspects, and might have been a little bit different. But it came into there, and Biden is just like, whatever, I'm not doing it. And so that's the problem. Like, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to enforce this? Well, but now, you know, Trump's not doing it. So now we're in a constitutional crisis. Ditto with respect to temporary restraining orders, especially when they have been imposed in a hearing without the government lawyers even being invited to be present. The government is entitled to some time to figure out what relief it might seek. I do not hold an absolutist position against a president's sustained refusal to comply with the court order. My position is instead that the rule of law considerations in our constitutional system generally call for a very strong presumption in favor of executive branch compliance with federal court orders. Truly extraordinary circumstances might well overcome that presumption. 3, in his first inaugural address, Abraham Lincoln, well, there we go, drew up a sharp and important distinction between the Supreme Court's rulings in particular cases and holdings or reasoning that underlie those rulings. Rulings must be binding in any case upon the parties to a suit as to the object of that suit, including, the text makes clear, when the federal government is the losing party. Why? Lincoln, concise answer, quote, while it is obviously possible that such decision may be erroneous in any given case, still the evil effect following it, being limited to that particular case, with the chance that it may be overruled and never become a precedent for other cases, can better be borne than could the evils of a different practice. A different practice, I understand Lincoln to mean, would be a practice in which the federal government has free rein to decide which judgments it will abide by. The evils of that different practice would be collapse of anything that could reasonably be referred to as the rule of law. Now, Lincoln, you know, I don't know if he goes into it here, but Lincoln did suspend habeas corpus and was kind of a piece of shit on a lot of stuff. So I don't know that I want to take presidential acumen from him. So, but Lincoln explained the court's holding on a constitutional question is, quote, also entitled to high respect and consideration if all parallel cases by all other departments of the government, quote. Its holding does not bind the president and Congress to those other cases. Interesting. The candid citizen must confess that if the policy of the government upon vital questions affecting the whole people is to be irrevocably fixed by decisions of the Supreme Court, the instant they are made in ordinary litigation between parties in personal actions, the people will have ceased to be their own rulers, having to the extent practically resigned their government into the hands of the eminent tribunal. Lincoln's remarks were, of course, directed at the court's infamous Dred Scott decision. Lincoln's actions as president were faithful to his words. Rejecting the dual holdings of Dred Scott, Lincoln signed into law bills banning slavery in the District of Columbia and other federal territories, and he instructed the executive branch to issue passports and patents to free blacks, thus recognizing them as citizens. Consistent with the line that Lincoln drew, no president has ever refused to obey a Supreme Court ruling. Indeed, it may well be that no president or presidential administration has ever defied an order of any federal court. All right, do I want to keep going? Oh, we're almost done here. Ironically, the one prominent possible counterexample of legal academics debate is Lincoln's, or in the Lincoln administration's response to the solo ruling by Chief Justice Roger Taney on Ex parte Merryman in 1861. It's disputed whether Taney was riding circuit or exercising the authority of a single justice in chambers, but he certainly wasn't issuing ruling on behalf of the court. As law professor Seth Tillman sums it up, the Union Army arrested and detained John Merryman, whom they believed to be an officer of pro-secession militia group which allegedly had conspired to destroy, and did destroy, bridges and railway lines at the outset of the Civil War. The conventional account, which I have repeated at least once, is that Lincoln refused to obey Taney's order to release Merryman from military custody. But Tillman argues at length that Taney never ordered anyone to release the prisoner, that Taney only ordered the general to bring the prisoner to court, and that the available evidence does not establish that Lincoln ever authorized the general to ignore or defy Taney's order. Law professor William Bod adds that Taney may have lacked jurisdiction to issue his order. I am not going to undertake to resolve the debate on these and other points. Suffice it to say that even if the conventional account is right, it would establish only that Lincoln in wartime defied an order by the author of the Dred Scott opinion, no less, to release someone believed to be actively engaged in treason or sabotage. I will happily accept that such extraordinary circumstance would justify such defiance. Okay, well, maybe you're just a simp for Lincoln. Tyler, language. Ex parte district court restraining orders just doesn't sound right to me. Yeah, it's a bit much to me as well. Okay. I think that's where we're going to end it today. There's other, let me just go here because I'm not going to read these, but we have a few other things. Is Doge constitutional? We kind of walked through that. Here's another article by Reason. Is Doge a constitutional crisis? This is Liz Wolfe. I would be interested to kind of reading this one as well. I mean, I think she probably will be fine here. A lot of panic. Who knows if it's I just don't think it's constitutional. Doge descends on IRS as Musk prepares to audit agency. I mean, this is fantastic information for me. Nothing there. I was gonna play. Maybe we'll look at this. This is Adam Carolla talking about the PCH. So a drone flying over. We'll watch this and then maybe we'll head out.
PCH. So this is Pacific Coast Highway. This is along the water side. This is directly in front of where I live. And it is some of the most expensive real estate in the world. And it is gone, baby, gone.
Look like Gaza.
Down to the ground. Yeah, it's very Gaussian.
Gaza-esque?
Like, very Gaza-esque. Now, it's now the thing that's weird, as I'll sort of narrate, is everything is melted and everything's down to the ground. There's nothing left, but it clears up at the beach club. The beach club, which I'm a member of, is untouched. Completely and utterly untouched. They did nothing, and then the fire, and then it came again. Now
your local watering hole has been spared.
We took vid going down PCH, and it is buildings that are untouched and then just total devastation. Wow. So everything down PCH is completely gone, and then stuff gets untouched, and then it's gone again.
I wonder why. Yeah, they just hiccup right over top of your house. I mean, granted, yours is built like concrete, but some other wood houses are.
I got the back hill on my house. The back hill was burnt down. Everything in front of my house is burnt down. This is a Porsche 928 carcass that was burnt to the ground, by the way. Risky business car for those who don't know.
I can clean up that title, bud. Don't worry about it.
And then it's just sort of eerie stairways nowhere, just metal stairways just hanging out over the ocean. Everything down to the ground. It's been over a month. There's zero cleanup. There's nothing.
Zero?
You saw it. I mean, nothing but rubble. Zero attempts at cleaning.
They're afraid to push poison to the ocean.
Toxic, whatever. Yeah. Okay, so it is now over a month. There is no cleanup attempt. There is no official Gov website you can go to for any kind of timeline about when the power's going to be on. There's just nothing. Dude. So the answer, when people go, when can you get back to your place? The answer is no goddamn idea.
Okay, one last thing. This is so I haven't even listened to this, so let's play this here because it could possibly be interesting. I don't know. This is Truman.
Among the Jews, the Zionists particularly, who were against anything that is to be done if they couldn't have the whole of Palestine and everything handed to them on a silver plate so they wouldn't have to do anything. It couldn't be done. We had to take it in small doses. You can't move 5 or 6 million people out of a country and fill it up with 5 or 6 million more and expect both sets of them to be pleased. We had all sorts of objections to everything that was done. A lot of Jewish people against me because they wanted the whole of Palestine.
Okay, I don't even really know what's going on there. But evidently that's Truman. Okay, I think we're done. Go have a good Valentine's Day. Like, subscribe. Appreciate everyone coming out here. Last question we'll get into, unless you guys keep throwing some stuff out here. Hubbleson says, why is anyone allowed to build there anyway? Well, I mean, this is the problem you have. If you had proper insurance and wasn't, being forced to always insure people, you would have people not building certain places because of certain problems like fires, floods. You couldn't get insured. And now maybe they're, the pendulum's swinging back and insurance companies are leaving California in droves. But the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to have the government, it's going to come in there and they're going to build back better, right? They're going to have that, or they're going to now force companies, or they're going to force, insurance to be the fair play type of thing, which we do have in California, which you may have to get, your fire insurance through a government funded. It's all the insurance companies pool money in, and then people that can't get insurance are end up getting it that way. Not a great solution, but the government has forced us into these things. Okay, so Doge, good, bad, I don't know. At this point, I'm just kind of letting it swing, and I'm hoping for more chaos, destruction of contracts and whatnot you have out there. So the more the better. So happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Go find your special person. If you're alone, I mean, you know what to do. Figure it out. It's all kinds of things you can do. Till then, we'll see you next week. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. See you. Bye.
Things are going to start happening to me now.
I think Tyler is amazing.
And I'm a fan of this show. I've watched several episodes.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
Never promise crazy a baby.
Oh, I like that. That's a cool idea.
Are either of you homosexuals?
I go both ways. What do you think?
You mean like flaming or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
But I do wonder, for others, in other cases, whether libertarianism today is just an excuse for many on the right to act selfishly.
Look at me. And then some fat asses in Washington started having opinions. The Olympic Committee started having opinions. You bitch, I know you. You started writing your opinions.
And it just makes me wonder, you're dead, bitch. Why are you doing this to this poor guy?
I don't care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
Did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you.